All right, thanks for hopping on. Hey, look, we've got a lot to talk about. So if I talk a little bit fast, hit the pause button, rewind, listen to the content again. It's so important to let these concepts solidify in your brain before you move on to the next topic, right? So look, you're busy, I'm busy. Let's dig in. What am I talking about? The KSE formula, right? And how it specifically applies to exactly what we're going through in today's market, today's situation. Everybody's familiar with the GME, GameStop going up. This is all kind of in the same boat. So, right. So when we're talking about the KSC formula, what exactly is the KSC formula, right? K, knowledge. S, strategy. E, execution. And you'll see the percentages that I have on here. This represents how much time we should actually be spending on each one of these areas, right? It's so important to get the knowledge injection of information into your brain, right? So you can start to utilize these concepts, right? So under knowledge, right? What am I talking about with knowledge? We need to be able to pick the best books from the top tier books, right? Specifically, I've gone through these listed here. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, The Richest Man in Babylon, Naked Money, The Bitcoin Standard, and Barron's. Definitely have to have your Barron's. The Barron's is your dictionary of financial terms, right? So, number two on the list is mentors. Definitely have to have mentors. Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell, mandatory. Definitely mandatory. Especially if you're interested in taking a look at and understanding what free market capitalism is. Milton Friedman has one of his episodes on YouTube called Free to Choose. You'll see that in my online research below. So definitely, if you're looking at things from kind of a macroeconomic perspective, you have to understand free market capitalism. I would suggest starting there, learning that information, and building yourself up, right? So what else am I talking about with online research? Free to Choose, Milton Friedman, the gold standard. If you're thinking about investing in crypto and understanding what the crypto market is, pick up the gold standard and really start to understand central banks and the World Economic Forum and what's playing out there. That's massive and it's kind of driving everything else that's occurring today. So after you get the knowledge into your brain, you'll want to understand how do you actually start to develop your strategy, right? By the way, you need all three of these pieces, the knowledge, the strategy, and the execution to be successful, right? Without one, the other two will never work. So with strategy, I'm specifically talking about how are you developing and assembling your portfolio. You should spend almost half of your time developing your portfolio. Understand how much risk you can take. And what is risk? Risk is really the probability of loss, right? Everything's about probability. Nothing's about certainty. That's for sure. Are you specifically thinking about how do you get rich quick, right? Short-term versus long-term financial gains or losses, depending on how you're structured. And, what does your pie look like? And this is what I mean by that, right? Over here on the left-hand side, talking about crypto and commodities. These are just arbitrary slices out of the pie, by the way. On the right-hand side, talking about stocks, bonds. But really, you'll have to start to think about how you're going to assemble your portfolio and what the strategy is there. Once you have your strategy, you can move into execution. That's the easiest part. And honestly, you should spend the least amount of time executing. You can see 10% of our time here. Number one, which online brokerage? That's probably one of the most primary questions I get. Specifically, people are focused on Robinhood right now. I see some folks on M1 Finance and Coinbase for crypto.